And let's start with that then, if you're cool with that. Okay, let's start with this. You've spent so many years, you spent so many years to growing technology. I'll just put it very simple to my listener base. आफ्नो देशमै गर्ने भनेर चाहिँ आफ्नो देशलाई चाहिँ केही न केही फिर्ता दिने भनेर चाहिँ त्यो कुरा चाहिँ कन्स्टेन्टली दिमागमा आइरहन्छ व्हाट गोज इन योर माइन्ड
आइरहन्थ्यो आइरहन्छ र आइरहनेछ बेसिकली नेपालमा there are many of us, right?
Yeah.
Similar to me, who's 25 years younger in college, who's aspiring to get good education. And I would say a lot of things starts with education. अब म यहाँ पढेँ तर I was one of the lucky ones to get a full scholarship to go to the US.
Yeah.
होइन त्यस्तै like मभन्दा capable कतिजना students are here who don't get lucky to have the scholarship. Like, they don't get that high quality education they should be getting. And when they don't get that education for many years, the kind of opportunities they could have gotten, they don't. And their life changes.
Yeah.
So I've seen it, and I've seen it among my friends as well. That got that opportunity to get a really good education, कसरी बिस्तारै life transform भयो भनेर, right? So that's always stuck in my mind. My wife also got a full scholarship. She's a neuroscience professor. So मलाई चाहिँ सधैँ दिमागमा आइ नै रहने कुरा थियो र अहिले पनि आइरहन्छ, which is how do we bring एकदम high quality education back to Nepal so that a lot of students who don't get lucky to get a full scholarship to go abroad can get the same kind of high quality education in Nepal, so that they are able to build skill sets that's equally good as anybody else in the best universities around the world. And that's what keeps me coming back to Nepal again and again and again and again.
मलाई थाहा थिएन, मलाई धेरै obviously I always start from zero होइन, धेरै त थाहा थिएन. मैले केही स्कुलहरूको नामहरू ठ्याक पढ्न पाएँ कि मैले होइन, स्कुल कलेज एज वेल होइन. Fusemachines को, correct me if I'm wrong, specific, I'll just use the term programs, are incorporated in these schools. Okay? नेपाली स्कुलहरूमा होइन, मैले यसो त्यो स्कुलहरूको नामहरू हेरेँ होइन, मैले हो र ओके, त्यसको मतलब कतै न कतैबाट चाहिँ your company is directly changing the lives of the students of our generation right away. आजकै दिनमै अहिले नै most probably अहिले कुरा गर्दा गर्दै some of the students are listening and they're saying like ए त हो त होइन, or maybe administratorsहरूले अथवा maybe त्यो स्कुलको इकोसिस्टमले कता न कताबाट अहिले सुनेर ए हो त हाम्रोमा छ त भनेर भनिरह होला होइन. Let's go back in time. Xavier पढे
म 1 to 10 St. Xavier's पढे.
What got you interested in computers? To be a scientist today, to be obviously to have all the success that you have on today's date. What got you interested in that beginning phase of your life, interested in computers?
I also questioned that myself. केले चाहिँ मलाई trigger गर्यो होला भनेर, right? Because when I got to Bates College in Maine in the US, first year I started doing research in speech recognition systems. अनि फर्स्ट इयरको एन्डमा आई ह्याड सेकेन्ड इयरको एन्डमा आई ह्याड बिल्ड नेपाली स्पिच सिन्थेसाइजर. त्यति बेला फिर्ता आएर अनि त्यति बेला नास्ट वाज कल्ड रोनास्ट एन्ड आई ह्याड गिभन अ टक. दिस इज द फर्स्ट नेपाली स्पिच सिन्थेसाइजर. इट कन्भर्ट्स टेक्स्ट इन्टु नेपाली स्पिच, नेपाली टेक्स्ट इन्टु नेक्स्ट. त्यति बेला पनि आई ह्याड गटन द क्वेसन वाट गट यु स्टार्टेड, वाट मेड यु डु रिसर्च इन स्पिच एआई सिस्टम्स भन्दा. If I were to look back, this would sound funny. Probably it's Hollywood movies.
Yeah.
Where you have all these movies with AI systems and so forth that's changing the world. Ani aba bacha belama you get fascinated by these things, right? And I'm guessing, I probably got influenced by some of these AI things that I saw in TV, in movies, in newspaper and whatnot, and got me excited that, it'll be interesting to do research on this. I think that's probably how I got started in some ways.
Got started. The movies, I guess. Cinemaले संसार change गर्छ भनेको यही हो नि.
What the? I mean, cinema has big impact on especially younger generation, right? Like when you grow up, a lot of this is fantasy. It's never going to happen.
It's happening.
But especially younger generation has huge impact by some movies. And that's why the field of creativity has such a big and very important role to play on how the world is shaped, right?
Very true. Do you remember any of those cinema? Which one was it?
I don't remember the exact specific movie, but I'm sure I like movies, so I'm sure I watched quite a few of them.
Let's tell everybody just a little bit about the company that you founded, Fusemachines. Alikati share गरिदिनुस् न. Just share a gist about your company in the beginning to everybody.
Sure. So Fusemachines 2013 मा start गरेको. Fusemachines at least US portion. अहिले we are about 400 plus employees located in US, Nepal, Dominican Republic, Canada, with some presences in Argentina, Chile, and Peru, and expanding to a few other countries this year. Our core mission is what we call democratizing AI.
Yeah.
And what that means for us is bringing extremely high quality AI education to the underserved world, in underserved communities, and train a lot of students and engineers to get the skill set, AI skill sets particularly, that makes them very capable of doing very high quality work as competently as any other engineer in the world. And by doing that, our hope is Nepal will be known for AI talent. It will create a lot of jobs for AI talent, and many of the AI talent themselves will create their own companies, right? And that will create this whole AI ecosystem, hoping that it will be known around the world, where Nepal is known for mountains, but maybe Nepal can be known for AI as well.
And we will make sure that it happens as well. धेरैजनालाई अलिकति अझ जिस्ट दिउँ है. Artificial intelligence, it's a new word for me, probably. It's not a new word for you. It's a new word for a lot of young friends who are listening right now. AI भनेर विगतको 2-3 वर्षदेखि चाहिँ it's bombarded all across the media on today's date, all across the world. Could you explain to at least people who are listening right now, हजुरको लागि चाहिँ what was AI back in the late 2020 beginning of this century, भनौँ न हैन, when you got exposed to this term called artificial intelligence?
It still means, in the basic foundational terms, still means the same things, right? Though the applications have changed. So the way I would explain what AI is, if you have a machine that can take input data, any kind of speech, text, videos, sales data and whatnot, and it takes that input and does reasoning on it, right? A machine does its own reasoning and makes a decision or takes an action. And usually that decision or action is useful for humans, right? Maybe the input is self-driving car like stop sign, and then it reasons that this is a stop sign, this is a red light, this is a green light, and it makes a series of decisions. Oh, it's a green light, I should go. It's a stop sign, I should stop. Those actions gets taken by machines, right? So that process of having machines being able to make decisions based on input and where those decisions are useful, I would call that AI.
How was it back in the day?
In early 2000.
Early 2000s.
It was still described in a very similar way, except the kind of data it could take was, not as varied as today.
On today's date, especially with ChatGPT.
Yeah.
It's, I don't know if I can use this word or not, it's very commercial. It's handy.
Yeah, it's very accessible.
Very, very accessible. And right now, as I see it, it's in text, and then gradually it's speech. I don't know how it works. If you could just explain to everybody, what is the future like?
The future is it's a multimodal systems, right? Which will be able to understand text, speech, images, videos, pretty much all five senses of like that we take it as input, right? And we are able to process the modern, like the more and more iterated modern version would be able to process more and more modalities of input data.
Layman's term.
Layman's term, you can interact with ChatGPT in text.
Yeah.
Right? There's already a GPT-4 and multimodal systems where you can say, analyze this image for me. You can give a video and say, write a summary of this video for me. Or you can even give a video and say, actually make a 30-second cut for me.
Yeah, and it's already done.
Yeah,
we are about to use that.
Exactly. Right. You can take the audio like this interview and say like, well, this is a little too long. Make it short. Make it 30 minutes or make it 15 minutes, and it will figure out what's important, what's not, where is a lot of disfluencies, and so forth, and just create a nice, maybe 30-minute or 15-minute video.
त्यो अहिलेको भयो. That's now. What's coming next is my question. What is coming next, Vanera? But before you answer that, let's go back in time. I kind of want to go back in time. The business opportunity is endless now, as a good in my after you started your company. When you started your company, Fusemachines in 2013, what was your thought process? At that time, decade पछि चाहिँ यस्तो हुन्छ भनेर एउटा त्यो vision थियो कि त्यतिखेर when you started, what was your vision like?
Suruko vision was, it's coming full circle though. Like many businesses go through iterations, right? The question is about the vision on the business, not necessarily on AI. Yeah. So Suruma, our first product we built was a dialogue system or a chat system.
For the government.
It's a product that we sold. One of the client was a government, and then sold to banks and whatnot. I come from academia, right? Yeah. And my core research was in dialogue systems and summarization, basically natural language processing. So when I said, okay, I'm going to start a company, usually whenever you're starting a company, you want to figure out like what can you build that can outcompete others so that you're able to sell the product. Right? Can you build something better? My expertise was NLP. That's what I'd been doing for so many years. So I said, okay, the natural thing is to build an NLP system, like a dialogue system. That's what we built. And we sold to government and the banks and so forth. What I would say what ended up happening was I was academic, but not necessarily a businessman.
Yeah.
I hadn't learned how hard sales is. And सुरुमा एउटा दुईटा क्लाइन्ट चाहिँ हामीले सजिलै जित्यो. त्यसपछि ओभर कन्फिडेन्स भयो. बनाउन त सकिहाल्छ, बेच्न त त्यस्तो गाह्रो छैन रहेछ भन्न ठान्यो. And that was a big mistake, right? Then we didn't do the right things that are needed to do sales, enterprise sales. Product बन्दैमा business हुँदैन, right? I hadn't learned that at that time. And then we had to shift gears and we started doing services. And services really grew, right? Where we are providing teams for the companies that are looking for talent. And so we started providing talent and really grew and really, really grew fast. And now we're again bringing back those products and again selling it along with the service so that now we are selling software and service. So we've come full circle from a vision perspective on what we wanted to be doing from a business model perspective, but at the same time, being able to fulfill our overall mission around bringing AI education. So त्यो हिसाबमा कति सोचे जस्तै भएको पनि छ, तर with many parameters that have changed.
The pivot, okay? When I was obviously reading up about just a gist about your life, obviously Columbia is a university that is right up there. सबैको आँखामा छ Columbiaमा पढ्न पाए हुन्थ्यो भनेर, to study, to teach to get your to finish your PhD, and then obviously to teach, and you had a good life going on. I'm sure you still have. ठिक थियो नि त.
ठीक थियो.
Why start a business? I'm sure you questioned yourself that as well.
I've questioned that myself, actually.
I'm asking this because today you have one of the most successful, as being, I don't know how to put it, as being an entrepreneur, who belongs to Nepal. let me put it that way.
Thank you.
To have one of the most successful technology business in the planet. Let me put it that way. So what made you start a business? What made you take that risk? Because a lot of people who are listening right now, I'm sure, want to take risk and start their own business.
Yeah.
But they might be thinking about that decision right now. What made you do it, and what advice do you have for a lot of friends who are listening right now?
That's
Put you on the spot.
That's a difficult question. Everybody has to come in their own terms in their journey to make that jump. And everybody has different points in their life where they're ready to make that jump. For me, I wanted to do it for some reason. It's like one of those things that's in the back of your mind that you want to do it. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs or to-be entrepreneurs who are listening in can probably relate to it. Like, दिमागमा पछाडि म आफै केही गर्छु. I want to do it. I want to do this because people have different reasons for it, right? Some people want to create impact. Some people want to make money. Some people want to just build a business for the sake of building a business and so forth, right? सबैको आफ्नो आफ्नो reason हुन्छ. I wanted to create an impact. And I thought building a business and building it such that you can have an impact in scale, business was one of the channels and ways to do it. भन्ने लाग्थ्यो. अनि त्यही हिसाबमा the entrepreneurial bug was there. So then one day in 2013, I said, okay, let's do it. And I just started it.
Who was your biggest supporter at the time? If you don't want to name them, that's completely okay. Who gave you that push?
My biggest supporter was my wife. Because when you are married, right, and you're a couple, you make big life decisions together. And without a wife's support, or your spouse's support, if you are a woman, right, like your husband's support, it's very hard to take that jump where no, you need to have a discussion saying, all that income is gonna go away, right? And I don't know how this is gonna work out in 3 years. It might just be a waste of time, but I really want to do it. Are you okay with it? And without the support of your spouse, it's hard, right? And that's for people who are married. If you're not married, then I think for a lot of them, the support is from friends and especially the parents, right? Because for entrepreneurs, especially in the beginning, they need all the love and support for that to keep them with that confidence that they can do it. Because every day is a challenge. Every day something goes wrong. And every day you're questioning yourself.
Every single day.
Right? And during those times when you are like so low and you're questioning yourself and you're ready to quit, having that support from your family and friends, that's the thing that keeps you going.
Yeah, that's so true. What keeps you going now? A decade later.
A decade later. I think now the business has gotten to a scale. I can see the impact. I can see all the students who are learning, and so when somebody learns a new concept, you can really see in their eyes the satisfaction from learning that concept. Right? You might have gone through the experience. I have gone through the experience. Everybody has gone through the experience. Even like watching a 30-minute tutorial video, or you read a book and you just learned something new, you feel fulfilled, right?
Yeah.
And as a professor and as a company that teaches a lot to many students all over Nepal and in different countries in the world, whenever I meet some of these students and I see their satisfaction after they've just finished a lecture or a course, I feel very, very happy about it. And that excitement for me of seeing the students' happiness keeps me going.
Keeps going. Wow, your students must be listening in. All right, let me jump into this. Elon Muskले भनेका छन् biggest threat to mankind. That's what he said. This is the biggest threat to mankind ever. Might have to build that rocket ship very fast and run away to Mars very soon. Like I mentioned earlier, Henry Kissinger said, the American diplomat said, artificial intelligence arms race has already started, and it's going to be who's gonna get build the best mousetrap. Stephen Hawking had said, development of full AI will end the human race. It will take off and redesign itself. That is something that scared me. त्यो पढिसकेपछि त्यो एउटा लाइनले चाहिँ बन्न त बन्यो, बनिसकेपछि उसले आफै सिक्छ र उसले आफूले आफै बनाउँछ. यसमा सत्यता कतिको छ? How much truth is in this that it's created now, the brain's created, like we were talking off air. Now it's gonna make the brain, I don't know, bigger or smarter, maybe put empathy in it, I don't know, wisdom in it, and learn in an exponential rate. Is this true? Is this what happens?
There's some truth to it. Basically, especially now, some of the generative systems is able to code, right? It can create software. Now, that, in one hand, is amazing for engineers, and especially non-engineers too, where they want to build something and they don't need help of engineering, and they can say, okay, can you code this for me? And engineers are already using as sort of a colleague and an assistant system that could help create code. Now, once you have a system that can create code, it can write AI code, right? So you have an AI system that can create AI systems. Now, how that evolves is yet to be seen, right? How accurate it is. It's not at the level where extremely accurate yet on writing like a perfectly new AI code that nobody had thought of, and it just came up with the idea and it would write on its own. It's not there yet, but it could be not too far off, right? So त्यो हिसाबले AI system creating AI system is true. It is possible. Now, will it start to optimize itself to a level where similar to movies like, HAL or Skynet and
that's what I was getting into.
Right, where it is saying, okay, I'm not going to let anybody unplug the energy supply, so I'm going to figure out how to, because I have access to all the building, I'm going to lock everybody out from any place that could unplug me, and then I'm going to change all things. That's a little far off. At least
Not impossible.
Not completely impossible, but it's a little far off. Because at the end of the day, it's right now, at least oiligo AI systems are, especially generative AI, especially large language models, are just trained on a lot of data that we created.
That's exactly what I was trying to understand earlier off air.
Yeah.
We created the data.
Yes.
We are the ones who wrote everything, who created, who've written art, example, articles or things have happened. We've gone out and taken the videos, we've written tweets. So the AI is grasping information from all of this.
Yes.
Is there going to be a day when AI is going to capture information by itself from, let's say, microphone or camera, or just, I'm not even talking about creating information, but at least grabbing information. Even right now, we're all linked to some kind of system right now.
Yeah.
So maybe it could turn on the cameras by itself and just start capturing things by itself. How far are we from something like that? Or is that possible right away?
That is possible.
Right now in 2023.
In the sense that you could instruct the AI system to figure out the best possible way to, collect every possible data from this particular industry, section, people, and whatnot, and have AI make a go at it, right? So you may have seen some of these examples where somebody said, okay, I have $100, try to make the most money out of it.
Most money out of it, yeah.
And there are systems like AutoGPT where it starts to reprompt itself saying, okay, this is an overall task I have to do, so what are the other things I have to do? and then it finds the answers, and then it gets additional questions. And to answer those questions, it reprompts itself and so forth. And it starts to repeat itself on extrapolating from a very simple top-level question saying, okay, find as much data as possible or collect as much information as possible from all these sources, figure it out, and doing its own thing on almost recursively to collect as much. So त्यो possible छ र कति
भइ पनि रहेछ
because some of the internet, the way it's crawled and so forth, right? There's a lot of AI systems being used to crawl internet and so forth, and recursively find more information. Yeah.
How many things do you know that I cannot ask? There's a thing that's going on. This is very off topic, होइन? आज बिहानको कुरा हो, एउटा आर्टिकल मैले पढ्दै पनि थिएँ, यो भर्खर रिसेन्टको कुरा हो, होइन? I don't know how much, just fact check me on this, है X. 60 वर्षमा पहिलोचोटि नेपाल रिसेसनमा जाँदैछ अरे अब, होइन? 60 वर्षमा, in 60 years there's no recession here, and then we might be being pushed towards recession, right? And I was just thinking about things that what's gonna bring us back from recession, right? Even if we go into recession or whatever it is, right? What are gonna be the reasons that we're gonna come out of this, right?
Yeah.
And one of the things that I was thinking about, which I just wanted to have a conversation with you, was टेक्नोलोजी हब बनाउन सक्यो भने हामीलाई नेपाललाई यो अहिलेकै अर्को रिसेसन नहोस् भनेर मात्र भन्न खोजेँ मैले. इफ यु क्यान मेक एटलिस्ट not just our capital, but a majority of our metropolitan cities, technology hub in a few years or decades, that might be a stable income source for our country?
Yeah.
Do you believe in this?
Absolutely. 100%.
How could we make this happen?
By educating more people in technology.
If you had to elaborate.
So basically, Nepal, what do we have that could, in scale, that could really transform the economy, right? It's youth, right? Almost 50%, more than 50% of Nepal is under 25. They're hungry to learn. A lot of them want to learn tech. Everybody does not get the opportunity to learn high quality, does not get enough high quality education so that they develop skill set to compete in the world. But if they are able to do so, imagine every person who wants to learn tech gets to learn tech at the level that allows them to build up their skill set that makes them equally competent as the engineers from Silicon Valley. Or Europe, or
India,
anywhere, right? Now, if they're that capable, then the companies from all around the world, they will come in droves to hire those talent. Because technology, my talent is still, there's not enough of them.
Around the world?
Around the world, right? If you look at the deficiency of number of jobs open versus number of engineers that's available, it is still disparate. AI मात्र झन् अब next level छँदै छैन हैन. So त्यो हिसाबले the thing that could transform Nepal, I truly believe that it's talent, and particularly if we can train a lot of people in tech talent and make them very capable technology talent, that could change the economy.
Okay. So within the same sphere of conversation, at least हाम्रो देशको हाम्रो ठाउँको कन्टेक्स्टमा कुरा गर्दाखेरि म सर्भिङ माइन्ड्स भन्ने कम्पनीमा काम गरेँ हैन. त्यो कम्पनी BPO हैन. 2005 मा I used to be a customer service representative. That's how I started. I was 18 years old. That was a technology company. We used to sell websites.
Okay.
In 2005, a static website, domain business, and this is static website business, and this is मन परायो भने, and this is make more of them.
Oh.
I don't know how to make websites. I know how to talk. I am the sales guy. From 2005 to 2023, the world has changed. Obviously, a lot of tech companies have evolved within Nepal. I'm glad I know a few of them who used to work with me back in the day in 2005 when I was a super young kid. So many different companies in Nepal. Let's not take names. हैन धेरै छन् हैन हाम्रोमा हैन कतिलाई थाहा पनि छैन होला छन् भनेर हैन आर्टिफिशियल इन्टेलिजेन्समा काम गरिरहेको कति छन् त if you don't mind me asking?
अहिले छन्. I think there are quite a few of them. There are a lot of companies that are working. Probably a lot of people outside don't know they're working in AI, right? There are a lot of companies that we know for sure working on AI. तर छन् अहिले I mean, I would say, especially with recent generative AI को growth, even non-AI companies are doing AI now, right? Because they have to adapt.
Exactly.
So,
no, that's fine.
I think at least out of all the tech companies, at least probably 30% of tech companies are probably doing something with AI at this point, or if not 50%.
Okay. So my question now, the real question is, artificial intelligence, is this the future? Why I'm asking this because आजको दिनमा कोही बच्चाले हैन पढ्दै छ भने उले ओके म एआईमा स्पेशलाइज गर्छु. Just me saying it from my understanding, हैन. Is this where the job market is going to be? Is this where the technology is going to head towards? Is this what my listener base needs to start studying or start working on?
Yes. The AI matter though, right? AI is probably one of the most sought after talent अहिले. And based on how growth in AI is happening, especially this year, and I don't see it going down anytime soon. So at least next couple years or even this decade, I think it's going to keep going, right? So definitely, and there's a big lack of talent, particularly AI. There's a lot of math, right? AI is a lot of math. So it's like software engineering combined with a lot of math. And the combination there's not as many out there. So if you do study AI and machine learning, you would end up commanding premium salaries.
Right away.
Like
America बेलायत पनि जानु पर्दैन
यही पनि America there's there's a premium that some of the engineers get to charge because they know machine learning much better. तर यहाँ पनि I think it is the case unfortunately because of it's a supply and demand problem, right? As more engineers become AI engineers, probably that discrepancy will slowly change and it probably be standardized across all different kinds of engineers. So the future is AI, but yes, there's data engineering, there's front-end engineering, there's back-end engineering. So just कसैलाई पनि what I would say is do study computer science at the end of it, right? Computer science पढ्यो भने अब नेपालमा computer engineering भन्छ and whatnot, तर at the end of it is computer science. Computer science पढ्यो भने you can go in so many different faculties. AI गर, data engineering गर. You can build apps, you can build mobile, you can focus on mobile, you can do UI, UX and whatnot, right? Blockchain garla, IoT garla. I mean, there's so many fields that you can evolve into and become experts on. And that's a very good opportunity. And अर्को राम्रो कुरा चाहिँ those are the kind of jobs you can do remotely.
From anywhere in the world.
From anywhere in the world, right? अनि त्यो हुँदाखेरि चाहिँ then you can build products or provide services for companies all around the world, just sitting right here from Nepal. And that will also partially solve the brain drain problem where the best of the best don't have to leave Nepal. They can just be right here, work and produce world quality product and services and be here.
And also solve a problem of not going into recession again, probably.
Yeah. India got transformed with the overall services business, right? So there's a lot of learnings there. And I think if we are able to train in masses and produce extremely high quality computer scientists and engineers, not just in the AI field, but across the computer science field, it will definitely transform Nepal's economy.
The pivot before you arrived, I was talking to a few friends of mine. 2005 को साथीहरू who still run companies here, होइन अनि धेरैजनाले पिभट गर्दै हुनुहुँदो रहेछ कि
Yeah.
if I'm not mistaken, होइन a lot of them are pivoting towards the new technology that's here available because they also need to survive and thrive.
Yes.
Apparently, I'm not in that business, so I won't understand it. I didn't even get it 1%, but from what I understood, and with what you just said, well, it is true, and it is happening.
Yeah.
The thing that is obviously our interest, young मान्छेहरुकोमा interest चाहिँ किन यति धेरै छ जस्तो लाग्छ हजुरलाई when it comes to this new technology, not just in Nepal but around the world. ChatGPT को केसमा we're the number 2 in the planet त्यो सर्च गर्नुमा के हामी त्यति त्यो हामीलाई चासो छ हुन्छ नि हैन के रहेछ यो भनेर हैन सो हाम्रोमा र विदेशमा पनि हैन यङ मान्छेहरुलाई चाहिँ किन यति धेरै इन्ट्रेस्ट छ in artificial intelligence, especially in what's happening today? Why do you think that's happening?
I think a lot of people see this as once in multi-decade kind of technology or a change that will bring the change in the world, right? Like there are a lot of quotes that get thrown around that this is new electricity, right?
No.
And so everybody sees how it could completely transform the world in a decade, or at least tries to envision it, right? And some of it has been influenced by movies, are you honest? Right? There are a lot of movies, right? Like Skynet, or there's the movie AI when the movie So like people, to movies, a lot of young kids, youth has this imagination where it could go. And the future they see is amazing, right? Oh, you could just have the machine do a lot of the stuff. And अब त्यस्तो खालको त्यो वर्ल्ड देखेको छौँ at least movieबाट हैन and it's exciting, right? Everybody wants to be part of the change and part of the team that brings about that change. And so AI engineer भयो भने त you are in the forefront of bringing that change. And I think that gets a lot of people excited, especially youth gets very excited. Until I think more and more people are, especially the young engineers, are super interested on being part of that team, being part of bringing that change in AI and want to learn AI.
India, I'll come to China. India transformed itself in the BPO sector. A lot of friends say that. And I come from BPO sector back in the day, and we used to get a lot of information from across the border too when we were working at that time. आजको दिनमा इन्डियाबाट especially in technology हामीले सिक्नुपर्ने कुराहरुमा what is few things that we can learn from India and we could probably grasp right away. We don't even have to go to America. त्यति टाढा पनि जानु पर्दैन भन्न खोजे मैले चाहिँ हुन्छ नि we just learn from our next door neighbor.
Yeah.
What are the things that we could learn right away? If there is something to learn.
Yeah. There's definitely something to learn and more. There's a bunch of things to learn. If I were to just sort of think through right now and brainstorm with you, right? One of the first things to learn is services business where you can provide services remotely to all countries all around the world that can transform economy. Right? That's the biggest learning. One of the biggest learning. India's economy has changed a lot, right? And as we talked before, we should really think that hard and say, well, can we replicate some of that in Nepal, where we could have not hundreds and thousands, but tens and tens of thousands of youth trained in technology and provide services around the world and build products, right? So that's one of the big learnings. Second learning, I would say there's a lot of things the government has also done to enable the companies to be able to scale quickly from regulation perspective or, other sort of subsidies, incentives perspective and so forth. Some of those learnings probably could be replicated in Nepal as well.
Yeah. When it comes to policy as well.
Some from the policy as well, because it goes hand in hand, right? Like the business sector can't flourish by itself. It needs the support from the government as well on enabling that, right? Like maybe the government, like maybe the government can provide subsidies for education, on AI education or technology education in general, right? And provide more teacher training in colleges and schools and so forth, right? So there are things that I would say India has done from some of those policies as well that could be learned. I don't know all the details. But, so I would say those are the two things. Then the third thing is, I would say, education itself, which Nepal is also evolving and so forth. The bigger question is, in India पनि एकदमै धेरै, especially technology services provide गर्दा, because there are so many universities and some of them are very high quality universities. How can we build more universities here, and how can we create that overall paradigm shift on being able to train? It ties into the first point again, but more from like particularly just education related things. There are probably learnings there too. So I mean, there's just a few that we are just brainstorming here, but there's probably a lot more.
I know you. Fusemachines. I said you. Fusemachines is working hand in hand with KU, if I'm not mistaken. कता न कताबाट केही न केही त्यो sharing त भइरहेछ जस्तो
अस्ति अलिकति भइरहेको थियो अहिले पनि there's relationship where we get interns, we provide internship program, like our internship opportunities. There's knowledge sharing events that happen with not just KU but with some other universities and colleges here as well.
I was reading about it some time ago. You're happy with that? Incessant Rain, Kiran sir was here as well. And when he was here, obviously he was talking about starting his own thing when it comes to educating as well. And that is already out there, as good in mind. Down the road, maybe university, maybe are you interested in starting something of your own of that scale? Do you have something like that in mind?
I'm saying the way we are running it is through AI fellowship programs, right? We want to provide free education. So AI education that we provide is completely free.
100% पढाएको थिएँ मैले.
It's 100% free. You just need to be able to get in and you need to commit finishing the program. And if you do, it's 100% free. Obviously, model is probably not sustainable for a university, right? So we are able to do so because, we have the funding. The business model allows that even by hiring a portion of those engineers, we're able to build products and services that allows and pays it back, right? If we really want to, so त्यसरी हामीले आफै AI fellowship run गर्दाखेरि we have no restrictions on who can come and who cannot come and be part of students, right? Science background को हुनुपर्छ भन्ने छैन. And I think I do believe in it that anybody should be able to learn anything at any point in their life.
Right. True.
Particularly in Nepal, there is very strict requirements. अब तिमीले +2 आर्ट्समा गर्यो now like like bachelor's in computer science जोड्न पाउँदैन. So I don't really believe in that. You should be able to study anything at any point in your life, right? If you have the will and want to do it. So त्यो हिसाबले हामीलाई there is AI fellowship गर्दा there is a lot of flexibility. Anybody can join. You just need to be able to pass the entrance exam. And not only you can join, you get a full scholarship. Right. So त्यही भएर हामीले अहिलेलाई त त्यही मोडल नै एक्सप्यान्ड गर्छु होला. तर we want to expand across सबै प्रदेश and remote parts in Nepal as well. And one of the ways we want to do it, besides just we doing it ourselves, which is partnership with universities and colleges that are already there, where we go there, we provide the overall infrastructure on content, software, all that, and also training of teachers. त्यो गर्यो भने चाहिँ everybody can come up with their own modalities on how to train their students who want to learn AI. And त्यो गर्यो भने चाहिँ I think it will truly scale. And हामीले like we announced a program called AI Shiksha for Nepal a couple of years ago. And that's the whole motivation around it. How do we bring high quality AI education to every corner of Nepal? And just Fusemachines alone can't do it, right? We need the support of the government. Local level, federal level, and whatnot. But on top of it, more than that, we need colleges, schools, high schools as partners who is interested in working with us, where we can provide them the infrastructure and they can run those education programs. त्यो गर्यो भने चाहिँ I think it can truly scale.
How many scholarships do you give away in a year?
It's not in very large scale.
Okay.
Couple hundred, depending on कहाँ चाहिँ program run by that. So we provide, we run AI fellowship programs outside Nepal as well. But we want to get to a point where we're providing 1,000 or 5,000 scholarships every year, right? Or even 10,000 if possible.
Yeah, that's where I was getting into. And then maybe the government's going to help you with the next 10,000.
Who knows? Yeah.
Then we'll have 20,000 engineers in a year.
Yes.
In a few years, sorry, in a few years.
But that's the plan. I think on a longer run, if we can train 100,000 engineers in Nepal, right? 100,000 AI engineers train गर्न सक्यो भने अघि भने जस्तै it will have the impact on economy itself. And I think that's what we should strive for. That's what we are striving for. That's our goal. And hopefully we'll get there.
Let's make it happen. Let's do it. I'll be a spokesperson for you as well. One of the spokesperson for you as well. I don't want another recession at all. संसदमा जति भने पनि हैन लास्टमा गएर रिसेसन भइसकेपछि बल्ल एन्ड मान्छेलाई थाहा हुँदो रहेछ कि कति गाह्रो हुन्छ रिसेसन भनेर. I'll move towards the rest of the planet now, just to pick your brain a little bit, A few challenges that I was just writing down that I want to run by you, since I have your brain in my studio today. Challenges of artificial intelligence in Nepal भनेर मैले सोचिरहेको थिएँ हैन. अनि ठ्याक्कै के च्यालेन्ज होला त भनेर सोचिरहेको बेलामा गाडी चलाएर सोचिरहेको थिएँ मैले के च्यालेन्जेस होला त भनेर बिहान हैन. ठ्याक्कै मेरो छेउबाट एउटा टेस्ला गयो कि. मैले यसो सोचेँ टेस्ला मैले चलाउने मौका त पाएको छु विदेशमा. मेरो मिल्ने साथीले टेस्ला नयाँ किनेर ल्याएको थियो. मैले खै चलाउन त खै एक राउन्ड हानौँ न हामी पनि भन्दाखेरि I did one round and then he said let's turn I'll show you something cool.
Full self driving.
मलाई चाहिँ बडो डर लाग्यो थियो हैन.
डर लाग्दैछ.
त्यो 6 वटा लेनमा त्यो आफै त्यो गर्दाखेरि मलाई चाहिँ डर लागेको थियो हजुर हैन. त्यो हाम्रोमा त छैन नि त त्यो टेस्लाले त. त्यो टेस्लाले त यो मेरो के अरे बाटोमा हैन त्यो सेल्फ ड्राइभिङ त मोडै छैन होला. भए पनि त्यो चलाउन मिल्दैन होला. I don't know. I've never sat in a Tesla in Nepal हैन. तर त्यो मिल्दैन होला भन्छु म हैन. सो हाम्रोमा त्यो टेक्नोलोजी यहाँ आइपुग्नलाई त केही समय लाग्ला. भनौँ न मैले त्यसरी लिएँ हैन. केही समय लाग्ला हैन. हाम्रोमा कस्तो खाले टेक्नोलोजी चाहिँ हामीले इन्स्टेन्टली adapt गर्न सक्छौँ होला. Just to pick your brain right now. What kind of technology we can grasp right away that's in the West?
I mean, you brought up a good point. I'll just say something on precursor to that part of the question, just to grab on your experience with Tesla, right? And getting to the challenges of bringing AI in Nepal, right? When you were driving and you were in the car and full self-driving was turning on, as you said, it takes 2-3 lane यता जान्छ, exit लिन्छ, all that, right? That technology नेपालमा ल्याएर full self-driving on गर्यो भने त काम त लाग्दैन. त्यो न्यू रोडमा त काम गर्नेवाला छैन त्यो, right? Because and I just want to reiterate why democratizing AI is important भनेर, हैन? And I'll get to answer.
Sure, no problem.
Because a lot of the things that are being built, especially from AI systems, a lot of these are trained on wherever it's built, right? And a lot of it is built in the US, Europe, and some of these other developed countries. So Tesla जति पनि ट्रेन गरेछ त्यो सबै त एकदम पर्फेक्टली मिडल लेन भएको, स्टप साइन भएको, इट्स अल एकदम पर्फेक्ट एक्जिट भएको, एक्जिटको साइन भएको. नेपालमा त कति ठाउँमा त लाइटै छैन हैन. So because self-driving technology has a lot of advantages and can bring a lot of efficiency, even for a country like Nepal. तर ल्याउन त it's very challenging. कसरी ल्याउने त, right? It's not instant right now, right? Like you said, can we just import it right away? No, we can't. It's not going to work as well. But one of the things that we can do, which is democratizing AI, which is creating talent who can adapt that technology for Nepali Safa tempo, right, can be done, right? And two, even though the technology is not instantly adaptable, But by the virtue of training people here who will adapt the technology, it may take few years, it may take 3 years, it may take 4 years, we will be able to adapt it and make it possible in Nepal. Just imagine Safari Tempo driving itself.
Oh,
Wouldn't that be amazing?
I'm going to get on it. Like, I'll be one of the first ones to get on
Right?
it. Just to
That
see
would be
it.
possible. Saza bus driving by itself, right? So that is possible. But that adaptation will take a couple years. Now, if you were to, now going back to the question, what's instantly adaptable, right? So I just talked about what's not instantly adaptable, but that could be adapted in few years and why democratizing AI is important to make that happen, right? What's instantly adaptable, a lot of the technology, particularly ChatGPT खालको technology, is instantly adaptable if we feed the right kind of data to it. And ChatGPT, as you said, it was like Nepal was ranked number 2 on the uses, right? People are using it because they are finding it useful already. A lot of the engineers here already use it for coding. They use it as an assistant system for their coding. A lot of people are using to get answers for it, right? आज बिहान मेरो भान्जीसँग बसिरहेको थिएँ. She's a medical student who just finished her 5th year, and she was talking about further exams and so forth. And Google search गरेको थियो अनि मैले, well, let's just find out what the process for USMLE is through ChatGPT, right? And it gave you एकदम मजाको answer, right? So some of those technologies related to ChatGPT and generative AI systems is already instantly adaptable and usable and useful for Nepal.
It's not okay. So let me just add on to this. है मलाई चाहिँ छ तर पुगेको छैन भन्छु कि म चाहिँ म किन त्यो भन्छु भन्दाखेरि म I'm lucky that I got and I get to see the world. हैन विदेशमा के छ यसो अलिकति त्यो 1-2 हप्तामा भए पनि अलिकति यताबाट इन्फर्मेसन अलिकति यताबाट चाहिँ आँखाले देखेर त्यो यताउता गरेर अलि देख्न पाउँछ नि त हैन. मलाई जहिले पनि मैले अघि न अफेयर भन्दै थिएँ मलाई जहिले पनि विदेश जाँदाखेरि यो मेरोमा किन छैन म जन्मे ठाउँमा किन छैन यो भनेर त्यो फिलिङले मलाई जहिले पनि खाइरहन्छ भित्रबाट. It eats me up every single time I go to a more developed nation than mine. It eats me. It's eating me right now as well, among all the things that I shared with you earlier. Whatever technology is created in the West, कतै न कतैबाट त्यो टेक्नोलोजीलाई हामीले ग्रास्प गरेर एकदमै फास्ट ट्र्याक गरेर चाहिँ त्यसलाई यहीँ ल्याउन सकियो भने लाइक यु जस्ट स्पोक अबाउट द सेम थिङ होइन 3-4 वर्ष भन्नुभयो नि त नि होइन इफ यु कुड सर्टन द्याट टु 3-4 months, how can we make that happen? Not just this technology, I'm talking about a broader not just with AI, but in terms of broader perspective. How could we make that happen in 3-4 months? Or 3-4 days, let's say.
अब 3-4 monthsमा त अलिक गाह्रै होला, right? At least to have a technology that's ready for mass adoption. अब गर्न त सकिन्छ कति कुरा you can adapt it, right? Like अब अस्ति न Fusemachines we had AI hackathon, and engineers coded for 2 days, right? Only 17 teams created 17 different things. There was a Nepali virtual assistant where they trained Nepali government ko kati documents and so forth so that you can ask questions related to getting permits or asking information that you would have asked to one of the employees when you walked to a counter in a Nepali government office. That's useful. That's adapted in 48 hours. Not 3 hours, but
48 hours.
48 hours, right? Nepali, the team called it Nepali Virtual Assistant. It's the same tech, just adapted really quickly for Nepal, for Nepalese people. And that can be done, and that is being done. So it depends on the tech itself. Some are more suited for being able to adapt it really quickly. 3-4 hours, like I said. To be really ready for mass adoption, it will at least take a couple of weeks, probably, or 3-4 months. For some of the other technology, it will take a couple of years.
Okay. So my next question is, the talent that we have on today's date, त्यो talentले संसारैभरिको टेक्नोलोजीलाई स्पेसिफाई गरेर बनाउँदाखेरि maybe the talent is going to make more money.
मैले बुझेन question.
Okay. So suppose there's XYZ software that can be built for XYZ company in the West.
Yeah.
That software engineer, example, I know, hypothetical, software engineer is going to make more money creating the software for a BDC company.
Yeah.
If we needed software in Nepal just for a Nepali company, which is not anywhere associated to a BDC software, then maybe the cost is going to be less. Maybe the person's going to make less money.
Yes, probably.
So why work for technology here? Why not work for technology in the West? त्यो question पनि त कतै न कतै त छ होला नि आजको दिनमा.
छ. But it is being answered by all the entrepreneurs who are building businesses and software for Nepal, for Nepalese, right? So some कतिलाई entrepreneurial journey, like we talked about, there are different things that drives them.
Yeah.
If an entrepreneur is all about just building a tech and selling it in the West and making money, maybe that person wouldn't build a software for Nepal.
Mm-hmm.
But and we see right now there are a lot of companies that are building software for Nepal, knowingly that if they probably sold it to the outside world or to the richer countries, they could make more, right? So there is that drive. I think especially kati Nepalihharuma, there is that drive of doing and building things in Nepal for Nepal, right? It's less tangible. You cannot put a dollar figure on it, but there is that intangible thing that drives a lot of software entrepreneurs, and that's why we see a lot of companies building software for Nepal. And there are a lot of examples for it. And at Fusemachines, we use some of the software that's built in Nepal for Nepal, right? Like our software is built in Nepal, right? We could have bought a software from outside, but we wanted to support the software from here, and we bought the software from here, and it works equally well. So, गर्न मिल्छ, तर like I said, there are a lot of entrepreneurs who are building software for Nepal.
It's happening. The challenges and obstacles of running a company in 10 years, in these 10 years, I'll just come back to business just for a bit. Running a company all across the planet. And I've heard that you're venturing out into other countries as well.
Yes.
Very soon. A few other countries. I know.
Yeah.
Being a global company now as Fusemachine is the biggest challenge that you have on today's date in 2023. What is that?
The one of the biggest challenges.
One of the biggest
challenges भनेर सोच्ने हो भने चाहिँ it's tied to talent and culture and language probably. But particularly talent and culture. Finding the right talent for the right job.
Yeah.
It's hard no matter which country you go to. There are a lot of rough cut gems, but finding that diamonds, like really good talent, and for the exactly right role, that's not just a global company problem, it's a problem for any company. But it gets blown up a little bit more as a problem for a company that's operating in different countries, is because usually founder the kuny country bada huncha. Founder knows that culture very well, but other cultures, they don't. I know we are operating in Dominican Republic. I don't speak Spanish. I don't know Dominican Republic culture at all, right? So to hiring गर्दाखेरि पनि, I don't know the nuances of the culture and who's the right person, who's not the right person.
Yeah.
So त्यो चाहिँ particularly global भएपछिको challenge चाहिँ त्यो, which is not understanding the cultures across teams and so forth enough to be able to bring them all together as one team. That's one of the problems right now.
Not a lot of people from our part of the world have global companies. Not a lot of people have. Right? I could literally name the people I know who have. होइन आजको दिनमा कसरी सुनिरहेछ यो, त्यो व्यक्ति जता पनि हुनसक्छ, त्यो व्यक्ति इलाममा बसेर पनि सुनिरहेको हुनसक्छ. That one person can be sitting in Sydney at the moment, or can be sitting in New York and listening to this, and maybe that person's thinking that it's not impossible. I could build a global company too, coming from Nepal. What piece of advice would you want to give to that person? Put you on the spot again.
There's so many things that could be done, and basically there are a lot of different things that could be looked at on how to build a global company. And I also don't know exactly what's that one thing.
One
right?
thing.
That's one thing.
A
right?
few things then.
There are a bunch of things, right? But I think it's for a lot of pretty much all entrepreneurs is grit and not to give up, right? Just don't give up. Right? It's gonna get hard. Company खोल्दाखेरि it just gets hard. There's no question about it. Right? कतिपछि people read about it and so ल त्यो त हिजो मात्र सुनेको आज त यत्रो भएछ भनेर सुन्छ तर every company has very rich history of the difficulties and challenges, bone-breaking challenges that all the entrepreneurs go through, and there are companies that die if you don't push through that, right? So at the lowest point, I think that's when you need to sort of just have that confidence, have that grit, and just keep pushing and believe in yourself and believe in the North Star of your vision of this is what I want to do, this is what I want to make it happen, and just keep at it. Yeah. And then there's other things, but I would say this is one of the things I would say to other entrepreneurs who are trying to build global companies.
The lowest point?
Lowest point.
That you thought that you're going to give up, shut it all down?
There were a couple lowest points, right? For entrepreneur, the lowest point is always when you have a lot of your team members counting on you, and you can't sleep because you know that maybe next day the company may not exist because you may not be able to make the salary payments or so forth, right? Those are the very difficult points. And I would say pretty much all companies go through it when you don't know if you're going to exist next week, right? And everybody has gone through it. We have gone through it as well. And those tend to be the lowest point where you've lost all hope, you've lost all self-confidence, you've pretty much at the end of things, of how you look at it, and almost ready to give up. But I say almost, right? And those tend to be the lowest point. But if you don't give up, then things turn around for sure.
Well, I'm in the middle of recession. I don't want to say more. In the beginning of recession, I don't want to say more. Yay context, man. Talking within this context, the thing that got Fusemachines at this point in 10 years, आजको दिनसम्म पुग्दाखेरि the vision that you shared when you started was impact, to create impact.
Yeah.
10 years. It's been 10 years.
Yeah.
You're getting there. What is the? There's nothing called end goal, what is the vision like now after a decade of starting it?
The vision is just a larger scale on being able to make same kind of impact, but in just a bigger and bigger scale, so that you are impacting more and more lives, right? Like we talked about just the AI sector for Nepal, right? We've had thousands and thousands of applicants. We have trained thousands, but we aren't in tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands. And as you said, there's no end particular goal. We're not going to stop saying, okay, we got 25,000. This is the China, right? But the goal is to keep moving towards getting more and more people educated in AI. In Nepal and in other underserved countries.
That's what I was getting into. You're into so many different other countries. And do you have the same scholarship programs? And do you have this a similar vision for all the other countries where your company is?
Obviously,
is it almost the same?
The program is same, but obviously Nepal is special.
Of course.
Right? So there are more scholarships here than other places, for sure.
Very, very interesting. Why I'm asking these? Because I want down the road, I want a lot of friends to have global companies. once we open up, once our policies change, and once things open up more, I definitely would love to see more entrepreneurs trying new things as well. यहाँ मैले खतराहरू भनेर लेखेको थिएँ होइन few dangers that I just want to run by you. If you want, do you want to take a quick break, or are you comfortable?
I'm good.
Everything good?
I'm good.
Okay. All right, this is the biggest elephant in the room होइन यो जुन सबैको क्वेसन नै यही छ अहिले होइन कसको जागिर जान्छ artificial intelligence is gonna take over jobs. This is a conversation I've been having with a lot of friends. We've had a conversation within our team as well. Casually, we've talked about it. यसो खोलेर हेर्दाखेरि विदेशमा इन्टरनेट हेर्दाखेरि विदेशमा McDonald'sमा त अब त्यो ड्राइभ थ्रु भन्ने हुन्छ त्यहाँ त त्यो के अरे एआईले क्वेसन सोध्छ अरे भन्ने पनि त्यो सुन्दै थिएँ होइन अब त्यहीँ त्यो ऊ भइसक्यो एक जमानामा हलो थियो विदेशमा पनि आज ट्र्याक्टर छ होइन एक जमानामा 50%ले खेतीबाडी गर्थे अरे विदेशमा अहिले 2%ले गर्छन् रे बाँकी 98ले खान्छन् रे होइन संसार त एक हिसाबले इन्डस्ट्रियल रेभोल्युसन आयो अब इज दिस द आर्टिफिशियल इन्टेलिजेन्स रेभोल्युसन द्याट वी आर इन द बिगिनिङ फेजेस अफ इज दिस इट
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, I mean, there are more and more jobs that will get automated. There's no question people will lose jobs. It's not the question of if, it's the question of when. But having said that, I think कसरी पनि हेर्नुपर्छ भने besides machines replacing humans in particular kind of jobs, machines can also play a very assistive role to supercharge humans on being able to do their own task, but better and faster, right? So त्यसरी पनि हेर्न मिल्छ. So I think there's two angles to it. The first is what kind of jobs will be replaced, right? And as I said, there will be jobs that will be fully automated. अनि अर्को चाहिँ how does it become assistive on making humans better, right? So first हिसाबमा सोच्दाखेरि चाहिँ the kind of tasks that are repetitive, more mundane, that requires a less cognitive load, doesn't have to do a lot of things with emotions and relations and so forth. त्यस्तो खालको jobs has a higher likelihood of getting automated.
By
machines.
By machines, obviously, but in a span of few months, years, it's coming?
It's coming. Few years, I think, for example, customer service reps, especially the ones that provide customer service
or
questions,
fulfillment or something
fulfillment or answering same kind of questions, but with slightly various nuances and differences. And they are sitting in, BPO companies and providing like behind the scenes from computer chatting and providing service, right? A lot of them will be automated.
Philippines, India, major markets. Okay.
I mean, there will always be a portion of customer service questions and tasks that can be automated.
Yeah.
But there could be a process where machines tries to tackle it first. When it cannot and understands it is frustrating the end user, it can transfer it to humans, and then the humans will do it, right? Like there will still be a customer service representative industry नै completely collapse हुन्छ भने हैन मैले.
Okay.
But it will become much smaller with the number of humans involved in it drastically reduced with machines doing the rest.
And that's going to happen really quick, really fast. Chitte.
Really fast नभनौँ होइन because there are some things even in dialogue systems that machines aren't good at yet on particularly taking actions. अहिले response generate गर्न त good छ तर not necessarily as good on taking particular actions, right? अब customer service मा त कतिले मेरो order cancel गरिदियो भन्छ. That's an action, right? So there's more research being done on how to do those jobs better as well, and that might be next couple years where it gets really good at it. But in next couple years, I would say धेरै नै customer service representative jobs would be automated.
What else is coming?
I think content creation, particularly where it's more not necessarily एकदमै creative content creation, but it's more of, okay, read these 7 things and create a top 7 article to do things. Khalko articles like, and some of the articles like BuzzFeed has tried this. There's top 7 things, top 10 things. Yesto khalko kati content generation चाहिँ machine probably can do pretty well, right?
अहिले नै गर्न सक्छ
अहिले नै गर्न सक्छ. इनफ्याक्ट सिनेट यु प्रब्लम गर्दैन, सिनेटले गरेर कसैलाई नभनेर पछि थाहा पाएर दे रिड्युस्ड इट, द्याट रिमुभ्ड इट. तर दिस इज ह्यापनिङ. र अहिले आई थिङ्क आई रेड दिस स्ट्याट समवेयर. अहिले वर्ल्ड वाइड 1% of the data is generated by machines, but soon it's going to be 10% of the content will be generated by machines. भन्ने खालको estimate छ. Right, so some of that will be probably automated. But तर एकदमै creative creation मा चाहिँ I think it will play more assistive role.
Okay.
Than completely full automation.
Okay. नकली जानकारी, गलत जानकारी, fake information.
Big problem.
Fake news.
Big problem.
Fake content. त्यो आउन थालिसक्यो.
आउन थाल्छ यार.
म त्यो कन्ट्रोल भन्ने शब्दै मलाई प्रयोग गर्नु मन छैन होइन. त्यो शब्दतिर त म जाँदै जान्न होइन. छुट्याउने कसरी? How will we differentiate if this is, I don't know if I can say the word authentic, is this real, is this human made, or is this artificially created? How will we differentiate that in the coming future when it comes to probably news, when it comes to photographs, when it comes to voice, when it comes to I can't even, endless. छुट्याउने कसरी? How will we differentiate on these things now?
गाह्रो छ. ह्युमन आईलाई त गाह्रो छ.
Ears?
Human eye, ears, like
nothing.
Humanलाई गाह्रो छ because it's gotten so good at it. होइन? Like you can't really differentiate that easily. तर there are a lot of technology being built to identify content created by machines. And some of these, I'm sure, will get deployed in as a stopgap solution and as a solution for not letting some of these fake news being exploded in social media and so forth, right? So I think, so there's a lot of research being done. And the research probably will create these solutions that would allow, especially large distributors that distribute news or content of any kind, to be able to have a filter with this system first checking if it's fake or not. It's a problem. Deep fakes are a problem. And it's gotten really good.
Is it scary?
It is very scary. Right? It is very scary because it's gotten to a point where, for example, we can take your all old videos, your speech, and recreate an AI version of you. Right?
Yeah.
And it would talk like you. It would say things that is in similar style and so forth. So imagine somebody who really wants to put something bad out there on your behalf, like a deep fake of you, right? Saying some bad things. The tech is there. People can do it. So
thanks for letting them know.
No, and that's a problem, right?
Yeah.
That's a big problem. And to identify गर्ने tech चाहिँ it's urgently needed because creating tech is there.
Do we have a tech like that?
Yes, to some degrees.
Are you building a tech like that?
We're not.
Is the world building a tech like that?
The world is building, especially the big companies are building, especially the big companies that control the distribution network, right? And like Google and Facebook and Apple and so forth. They are working on some of these tools to identify fakes, fake videos, fake news, and so forth.
The world is going to be a completely different place in 10 years?
Very likely, yes.
How different?
From automation perspective, right? It will still be the same in many ways as well, right? At the end of it, what makes us human is the relations and the emotions and so forth. None of that is changing, right?
Yet.
Yeah. It already has changed to some degree with social media, I guess. But like fundamentally, what makes us human hasn't changed. I would say so, and particularly relations and emotions and all that. Tara, what would change in 10 years is probably the work we do, how we do it, how we make machines do things in the real world. त्यो automation चाहिँ 10 वर्षमा चाहिँ definitely will be much more prevalent across many activities we do on a daily basis, right? For example, the daily basis ma use गर्ने भनेको, a lot of people ask what is the weather like, at least like US ma, right? Like that's an AI system. Like before you had to log into a computer, find the weather or look at an app. Now you can just ask a question. That changes a little bit of how you do things on a daily basis. I think in 10 years, there will be many of those things. From hour to hour, within 24 hours, you're probably using AI system somehow in either every hour or every 2 hours or every other activity or so forth. So I think two things change. I think our relationship with machines will change.
30 GB. I was watching a video on how much information do I grasp today. आजको दिनमा मैले चाहिँ मेरो दिमागमा चाहिँ कति इन्फर्मेसन राख्दो रहेछु त भनेर होइन एभरेजमा 30 GB रे
ए हो र
गिभ अर टेक होइन त्यसो बिहान उठेदेखि म राति सुतुन्जेलसम्म होइन त्यो 24 घण्टामा मैले भनौँ न गिभ अर टेक फ्याक्ट चेक गरेँ मलाई एक्स फ्याक्ट चेक 30 GB जति चाहिँ मैले इन्फर्मेसन मेरो दिमागमा राख्छु रे मैले
ओके
द्याट्स अ लट I don't know. That's a lot. 30 GB भने चाहिँ कति भने just fact check me on this. It's a lot of information. होइन त्यो चाहे नचाहे पनि के मैले I don't need that shit in my life. Equivalent to like 30-40 newspapers होला त्यो भनेको होइन गर्नुहोस् कतिवटा होला होइन त्यो इन्फर्मेसन मलाई चाहिँदैन त्यो इन्फर्मेसन होइन तर मैले त्यो हिँड्दै फोनमा कतै न कतै केही न केही गरेर त्यो इन्फर्मेसन मैले कतै न कतैबाट लोड गरिरहेको रहेछु होइन My parents didn't have to do that. Probably my great-grandparents didn't have to do that. Probably the information was limited. Right? What's going to happen to the next generation? What's going to happen to my unborn child? What kind of information world is my unborn child going to come to?
It's यसो सोच्दाखेरि probably cognition load चाहिँ probably we'll get to a world where probably there is less cognitive load because machine is taking that load for you. Right? So, I think, like for example, if you're driving a car, there's a lot of cognitive load. There's a lot of, to 30 GB, my significant GB is probably just remembering when to stop, take a right, take a left, which direction, and so forth. That's a significant amount of information. Information you're processing, right? यहाँबाट म्याराथन ड्राइभ गर्नु पर्यो भने you need to remember the road. यहाँबाट जाने, बागमतीको पुल काट्ने अनि and यहाँ one way, यहाँ two way, right? You've like all that. But self-driving car, you don't need any of that, right? You just hop on the machine, hop in the car, and the car will take you. अहिले भने आएन मैले तर I think the more the machines do the job for you, the less cognition load you have, and probably less of information processing you need to do those kind of tasks that get automated. But having said that, you know, one of the things people talk about when they talk about is, you know, yes, there will be jobs replaced, but there will be a lot more new kind of jobs that's created. Right?
Sure.
Last year, you would never hear a term called prompt engineering.
What is that? What is that?
So prompt engineering is figuring out how to prompt ChatGPT or large language generative AI systems, right? And now if you go to many companies, you will see a lot of job ads for prompt engineers. Already, right? Now, that's a new kind of job that did not even exist last year. So I think with the more automation where it's doing more things for you, there are probably allows humans have time and opportunity to work on more interesting, newer things that needs cognition load, and maybe some of it even have a cognition load, but it's less applied for more mundane tasks.
So we're going to be more innovative?
Could be, yeah, because we'll probably have more time to do some of these things that we, like, oigai kurama, instead of having to sit on the car and drive for half an hour, right? If you don't have to drive for that half hour and you can actually spend time on doing something else, that's more creative and more useful.
Probably scrolling more Instagram and YouTube Reels.
That could be too.
My brother said this a couple of days ago, and it hit me really hard. The person who created the airplane, and in another 60 years or so, we went to the moon. 60 वर्ष लाग्यो हामीलाई एयरप्लेन बनाएदेखि एयरप्लेनको पहिलो टेक अफदेखि जहाज भन्न मिल्दैन यसलाई रकेट होइन मुनमा पुग्नको लागि 60 वर्ष 60 years from the moment we took off for the first time till we got to the moon that we used to see for God knows millions of years and we didn't figure out what was
अहिले जस्तो कम्प्युटर पनि थिएन
के पनि थिएन के भन्छ त्यसलाई त्यो एउटा आजको क्याल्कुलेटर बराबरको टेक्नोलोजी थियो रे हैन
क्याल्कुलेटर त थियो क्यारे
त्यो
I don't know actually.
समथिङ बराबरको टेक्नोलोजी थियो रे त्यो मुनमा पुर्याउने त्यो के भन्थ्यो त्यो होइन त्यो भनेपछि 60 वर्षमा हामीले त्यहाँसम्म पुर्यायौँ भने यो रेभोल्युसनको 60 वर्षमा कहाँ पुग्छ होला त हामी
त्यो त इमेजिन गर्नु पनि गाह्रो छ I don't know. अब like some of the things that we see in movies probably becomes real.
Flying cars? के त्यो के पनि हैन
Flying cars though, I would say almost आइसक्यो, right? Because not in the terms of like कारले यस्तो पकेर निकालेर उड्ने होइन कि होइन there is like Uberको air taxi छ अहिले, right? Where
दुबईको
कता छ, right? Uber taxi where it's drones to fly from top of the building to top of the building to top of the building, right? That's flying cars to some degree.
Already.
Right? But the air traffic ko movement and so forth, this regulation fully naakoले probably is not deployed across all around the world. From tech perspective, you do have flying cars in some sense, right? But harder thing, particularly AI, one of the harder challenges that hasn't been fixed yet is very humanoid robots, right? When you talk to ChatGPT and machines and similar to the machines still through computer, right? And it's dialogue to एकदम राम्रो गर्छ तर human को जुन चाहिँ fluidity and dexterity on just like you're taking that cup of water and just drinking it sort of easily, machines at least अहिलेसम्म चाहिँ machines still have a little bit of hard time. For example, there was a lot of research done even just like हामीले हातले समात्छ नि. There was a lot of research still being done how to create machines, how to create artificial hands that can grasp things very fluidly like human. हामीलाई अन्डा देऊ, ढुङ्गा देऊ, cup देऊ, we just naturally figure out how much pressure to put and just grab it.
True.
हैन मसिनलाई गाह्रो छ, right? मसिनलाई अन्डा versus ढुङ्गामा it needs to calculate so many things to figure out exactly what kind of pressure to put and how to place the hand so that it doesn't break the egg. Right? So, the humanoid form of robot, अझै पनि बनिसकेको छैन fully, right? Like Boston Dynamics has done a lot of research. Some of you may have seen some of these videos of like, robotic dogs and so forth. They don't come even close to like human-like form. At least अर्को next decade or next 20 years, you'll probably see more and more human-like robots, right? Like movies, पहिला movie ma. Now you combine that with what makes us human, which is language in many ways, right? Besides emotions and all that. That's one thing that differentiates us from all the other living beings. The way we are able to communicate with each other. त्यो त मसिनमा आइसक्यो. अब अहिले missing part is human-like form. Now, if you are able to combine those two, त्यो भयो भने त अलिक खतरी हुन्छ. And we'll probably get there.
So we'll probably I don't know how long. Obviously, if I knew how long I'd live, it'd be a different thing. As long as I live, एउटा कुकुर अब मैले अब रोबोट कुकुर ल्याउँछ होला अब पछि गइसकेपछि अब pet dog, but machine dog most probably gradually down the road. That's something that's coming. I was thinking about it. एउटा भिडियो मैले हेरेको थिएँ. I just wanted to talk to you about this. Let's try to find this video. चाइनामा बच्चाहरूको त्यो स्कुलमा बच्चाहरूलाई त्यो यसरी के लगाइदिएको रहेछ होइन एउटा डिभाइस लगाइदिएको रहेछ होइन स्कुलमा क्लासमा बच्चाले त्यो डिभाइस लगाएछ त्यो डिभाइसको माथि आइम जस्ट ट्राइङ टु हेभ अ भेरी भिजुअल मेमोरी होइन रातो र हरियो थियो कि बच्चाले त्यो कन्सन्ट्रेट गरिरहेछ भने हरियो हुन्छ कन्सन्ट्रेट गरिरहेछ भने पनि रातो हुन्छ कि
इन्ट्रेस्टिङ मैले देखेको छैन
होइन समथिङ लाइक द्याट होइन सो क्लासमा बच्चालाई डिभाइस लगाइदिएछ केही न केही होइन अनि त्यो बच्चाले त्यो अनुसारको त्यो ओ या देयर यु गो होइन Under AI's watchful eye, China wants to raise smarter students.
Oh.
So, I don't know what this is, but this is there.
And brainwave monitors. Track students with AI cameras and brainwave monitors. Interesting.
What is this? Just, I'm sorry again, throwing you out in the way.
No, about this.
What is this?
Eye tracking to figure out if somebody is more involved and attention दिइरहेको छ कि छैन भनेर त हेर्न मिल्छ इनफ्याक्ट हामीले फ्युज क्लासरुममा we have implemented we
have this here
not this but we have built a system that allows teachers to enable a feature that allows the system to be able to see if the student is attentive or not by looking at the eye tracking. Like if they are like eye tracking works pretty well, right? Like especially if you are in front of a screen, the screen mount person, and if you're taking classes over online, and if you are looking at the teacher and you're looking at the slides that's being shown in the and you are looking at it, there's certain angles of how the eyes will appear and so forth to the machine. But if somebody else is looking at some other way and daydreaming and whatnot, it will be able to tell that.
I enjoyed doing that.
Yes. So, त्यो त छ हैन तर I haven't read that article and I haven't seen how brainwave monitoring allows you to figure out somebody's paying attention or not. But I'm going to read up on it and find out more about it.
They're building those kind of kids there now. That's what's happening now.
That sounds interesting.
They've already taken over the planet. They're probably going to take over the planet like into 2 times now. त्यस्तो भइसक्यो रहेछ होइन त्यहाँ पुगिसक्यो टेक्नोलोजी I don't know I don't understand it but I know it's cool it's going to work out most probably that I don't know if that's the future.
Yeah, कहिलेकाहीँ sometimes some of the news you have to take it with a grain of salt as well, right? Like how much like कतिको चाहिँ like really काम गर्छ गर्दैन brainwave monitoring to keep track of attention. I haven't seen a research paper on it, so I can't really comment on it yet.
No problem.
But I'll read up on it and see how far AI systems have gone on being able to basically be able to say if the student is attentive or not based on brainwaves.
All right. Have you heard about this thing called Neuralink?
Yeah.
Okay. What they're trying to create, I know with Neuralink, open up Neuralinkको website. एकदम नजिकै आइसक्यो जस्तो लाग्छ मलाई उनीहरूले जे कुराहरू क्रिएट गर्न खोजेको छ हैन. This is going to sound it might sound funny now, it might be a natural thing down the road in the coming years. Will we be implanted by something like a chip and rather than us making robots, we will turn into something like that down the road?
Could happen. Could happen. I don't know. I don't understand that enough, and I haven't been. मेरो research त्यसमा पनि होइन. So I don't know enough to be able to really comment on it and say if we're going to turn ourselves into robots or have robots work for us. But who knows?
Who knows what the technology and the future is going to be like down the road. Recently, when I ChatGPT used it's been a few weeks. I was traveling and I was just tooling around with that and a couple of other things. अरू 2-3 took to Wonder भन्ने app भन्ने so Wonder अनि अरू कुराहरू मैले चलाएर बसिरहेको थिएँ. गर्न नहुने हो तर मैले गरिहालेँ हैन. I generally don't download extensions यतिकै तर मैले ल ठिक छ डाउनलोड गरिदिन्छु extension भनेर. I talk to ChatGPT now. So I speak to it and then it speaks back to me.
Okay.
हैन. So त्यसले बडो सजिलो भएको छ अहिले मलाई.
Okay.
हैन मैले चाहिँ टाइप गर्नु परिरहेको छैन हैन. I can just talk to it and then it's going to answer back to me. It's also going to write to me हैन. आजको दिनमा obviously with other sites if you buy credits then you can definitely come out with image हैन. Obviously like you said video लाई नै हुन्छ हैन. That is now. In the very near future what do you think we'll be able to do in the very near future?
With ChatGPT and similar tech.
Yes. That Google's coming out with Bard as well. So few other things that are coming out right now. Obviously there's I don't know if this is what this is, but big tech companies have their race going on right now. Just a feeling by that. The race is definitely developing technology, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
You'd be the right person to shed that. And in this race, what do you think is coming out? And is it a race?
It is a race. It is a race for large tech companies on figuring out who'll be able to build a better AI system that will be used more than others in the world, right? Like पहिला search engine competition जस्तो त and near term there's more and more, I think, plugins देखि लिएर and so forth that allows the backend engine to talk with other systems. त्यो बढी हुन्छ जसले गर्दा it will allow most of the end users to be able to have a natural language interface to pretty much most of the tech they use probably. Right? अहिले अब ChatGPT लाई plugin आएको छ, but you might have a plugin soon for Gmail where you don't really open your phone either. You get a email. त्यो पहिला हर मुभीमा जस्तै the machine says, oh, this person said this. Should I respond with this? And you say yes. And then the email gets drafted, crafted, and sent. Right?
With yes or no.
With yes or no.
Or maybe.
Or maybe, right? And it could work, right? You say maybe, and then it might say, well,
let me give you more options.
Let me give you more options. So let me just change it a little bit because you always write this person in this particular way. And you change your style when you write this person. And then it will adapt and send the email, right? So there will be more and more natural language interface for everything we do. I think त्यो चाहिँ भइ नै हाल्छ. तर त्यो बाहेक there are things like AutoGPT that's coming up where you give a broader task to complete, right? You can say things like, okay, I want to plan a birthday party for me. And especially when it is connected to so many other things, right? It might be able to do full birthday planning for you.
We'll call the hotel, we'll call the decorator, we'll call the balloon guy, we'll call XYZ, and call
send
the baker.
Invite.
Yeah, send the invite. Oh yeah, send the invite.
Right. So त्यो चाहिँ I think that अहिले त्यो पनि एकदम fast move भइरहेछ on how to build AutoGPT like systems that allows the human to just state very high level goals and the machine does the rest. I think that's also coming.
Are we going to be more lazy now? Again?
I don't know. I mean, humans are very inquisitive being, right? They're always searching for how to improve lives, their own lives, others' lives, and the planet and the world. And as I said before, अहिलेको self-driving car, यहाँबाट मार्च जाँदाखेरि I'm sure there will be people, when the car is driving itself, somebody's just going through TikTok videos, but I'm sure there will be some other people who are thinking about new things to read and new things to build. So that's probably more person-to-person dependent question on how they're going to adapt themselves in the newer world where machines are doing more for you.
You just said something that's so insane. You know what you just said? New world.
Yeah. Maybe that, I didn't even realize I said that.
It just hit me right now when you said new world.
I should say new world, new reality with AI doing a lot of things.
No. What you just said is better. जहिले केही समय अगाडि त्यो ट्राभल गरेर बेलामा चाहिँ मैले त्यो यतिकै अब कति सिनेमा हेर्नु भनेर चाहिँ होइन एउटा इन्ट्रेस्टिङ कुरा नेटफ्लिक्सबाट डाउनलोड गरेको थिएँ कि होइन त्यो चाहिँ वर्ल्ड वार 2 इन कलर भनेर छ होइन त्यो लामो त्यो डकुमेन्ट्री छ होइन त्यो बिचतिर पुगेको छु म जापान सकाएर स्टालिनगार्ड भर्खर सकिएको छ होइन अब चाहिँ के अरे डी डेतिर पुगेको छु म होइन त्यो डकुमेन्ट्री हेर्दाखेरि मैले टेक्नोलोजी obviously, you can use technology for the good and the bad.
Yeah.
Let me just end it right there with World War II. And you can use technology that you create for the good, or you can use it for the bad. evil versus the others भन्दा पनि मिल्छ यसमा होइन but technology played a vital humongous role in World War I to start it and to end it.
Yeah.
New world. There are pros and cons of this technology that's coming now.
There's pros and cons of the technology that's coming now. Was that a statement, or were you asking a question?
I'm asking a question.
Uh,
More pros or more cons?
It's hard to tell. I think
Prediction boy.
it's hard to tell. I mean, a lot of people who are fearful of how this could be, this could change the world for the worst, have valid reasons to
Be scared?
be scared, I know. And as you said, technology could be used for good or evil, for good or bad, however you put it. I think that's AI itself, राम्रो नराम्रो भन्दा पनि how AI is going to get used in राम्रो or नराम्रो way is the bigger question, right? Because on the wrong hands, it could do a lot of damage. And in the right hands, it could do wonders. So it depends on, so especially evolving world मा सोच्दाखेरि चाहिँ I think if humans come up with general frameworks on where it shouldn't be used as much and create safeguards and guardrails around it, then I think in net it will be a lot more positive. तर त्यसको लागि चाहिँ, there needs to be things that people come up with and agree to, where they say we're not going to use it for these things, right? I think Yuzo Barker, I think a generative AI company, I think it was Anthropic or whatnot, they came up with a constitution of their AI system.
Their own constitution within their system.
For their own system. I think it's called Cloud. And that shows that companies, humans, everybody who's building the state-of-the-art AI system, they are thinking about some of these guardrails and framework that allows the machines and the AI system and the technology evolve in such a way that it is doing more good than more harm. And that's important. And I think more and more people will care about it. And because more people will care about it, I think the humans will end up creating frameworks so that it becomes more useful and does less harm.
I look at pictures of, come to understand, I look at pictures of owners of big companies and their humble beginnings. आज पनि जेफ बेजोसको तस्बिर हेऱ्यो भने 6-7वटा किताब बोकिरहेको त्यो तस्बिर आजसम्म पनि त्यो तस्बिर हेऱ्यो भने यहाँबाट सुरु गरे अथवा त्यो कम्प्युटर अगाडि एउटा त्यो टाँगेर राखेको एमाजोनको त्यो एउटा त्यो आजले हेर्नु भएको छ त्यो तस्बिर हैन and now after having I don't even know how many billions हैन from Elon Musk sitting in that PayPal ko त्यो छ अनि त्यसपछि आजको दिनमा हैन having ambitions of going to the Mars. So I'm just talking about like people from the West, let's say. And obviously I can talk about people from within our sphere of Asia as well. So when powers are given to limited amount of people, anything can happen with artificial intelligence. If it's not talked about, and no, I'm not talking about control again. The control one is what do you think if few people have access to this technology and to this superpower?
Few people, भन्नाले, are you talking about
big giants, big corporations?
So are you asking, will there be more good or more harm if it's limited to just large companies, or are you asking more if only very few people had access to it who have influence. Maybe they are presidents and whatnot, right? And they are able to use it for wars. How would that impact the world? The so
you
the-
want the crux?
let's hear
we
the
started with a word called democratize AI भनेर
Yeah.
हामीले सुरु गर्यो नि त नि
Yeah.
हैन make it open for all, make it accessible to a young child in a third world country.
Yeah.
त्यो त्यहाँबाट छ नि त होइन हाम्रो कन्भर्सेसन त त्यहाँ छ नि त नि होइन तर आजको दिनमा त त्यो छैन नि त आजको दिनमा त त्यो अर्कै ठाउँमा छ नि त होइन सो मैले भन्न खोजेको कुरा के भन्दाखेरि right now it's not with everybody in the beginning phases, right? And we're trying to, as Fusemachines as well, you're trying to make sure that it goes everywhere.
Yeah.
It goes to every part of it. It gets in the hands of every single part of human being, even if it's a developing nation. Let me
Yeah.
put it that way. Right? Right now, it's in the hands of very limited people. Am I true?
To some degree, yes. Particularly from being able to build these large systems, right? It costs so much that most companies, even in the US, let alone Nepal, can afford to even build one. From an accessibility perspective, as they roll it out as one of the features in their product, right, be it over the phone, more people will start to have access to it. In limited fashion, obviously. There are some of the very high capacity features and whatnot, they are still probably limited to some of the large companies where they have not exposed it to for others.
Anything is possible. I already understood that. मलाई जहिले पनि एउटा retrospect, there's a few things that always crosses my mind. There was an app that was released for a very short span of time. एकदम छोटो समयको लागि यो app आएको थियो हैन यो app चाहिँ एउटा गेम थियो के
Okay.
The duck was flying.
Okay.
There was a duck that was flying and I forgot the name of. Do you remember the game? X?
Flappy Bird.
Flappy Bird. The app was called Flappy Bird.
Okay.
The app crushed the world. Okay? Everybody in the entire planet wanted this app called Flappy Bird. It got to a point where the person who created this app, कहाँबाट created थियो?
Flappy Bird ki Angry Bird?
Flappy Bird. यो चाहिँ.
Hey, okay.
Flappy Bird. होइन Vietnamese video
Vietnamese
game artist र programmerले बनाएको थियो Vietnamमा
Oh,
होइन
मैले
डिलिट
I
गर्नु
think
पर्यो त्यस्तो के
हो Flappy Bird होइन यति यसको डाउनलोड भयो यति त्यो ऊ भयो कि होइन he deleted it के he removed it. He was like okay I'm no longer gonna give it to
Hey,
the
yeah.
world. म संसारलाई दिन्न यो.
किनभने किन चाहिँ probably he thought it was harming a lot of people because
People were
it
just
was
playing Flappy
wasting their time.
Flappy Bird. People were just playing around with Flappy Bird. And you were just done with it. Right?
Yeah.
A person sitting in Vietnam created this and then it went around the world. A person sitting in Nepal, any part of our country, anywhere, news, northeast, west, south, a Flappy Bird removed from both apps, 2014 Matthew, that he felt guilty over what he considered to be the game's addictive nature and overusage.
Interesting.
There are two parts of this story. One part is anybody sitting in our country
Yeah.
can create a world-changing application or world-changing, I don't even know the word for it now, but I'm sure there are new words
Yeah.
that we're going to be coming to. Is that possible on today's date?
Yeah, it is. It is. And I'm sure we will see a couple coming in next few years and a decade.
What would you want to go ahead and say to that person who is thinking of an idea?
Build it. Like a lot of times, I think, especially for entrepreneurs, those who haven't taken the jump, they will think about it. They will think about it. They will think about it. Right? Like as you said, like there is that jump. कतिलाई त्यो jump लिन गाह्रो छ. For whatever the reasons, and everybody has come to their own decision-making point where they make that jump. And if you're thinking about building a world-changing product, just go and do it. Like start building it, right? Like may not turn out to be the same way you thought, maybe it doesn't become world-changing, maybe it becomes Nepal-changing. That is still a success, right? But in a similar course, you will end up inspiring somebody else who might end up building Asia-changing, and somebody else who gets inspired to build world-changing. But that process needs to happen, right? And I think it will happen. And there are more and more companies here who are building products and who are building very, very good products. It hasn't been like world-changing commercial success. Some of that requires funding and the level of funding that requires it to be world success. कतिचोटि product नै world quality भए पनि it doesn't become world success because it doesn't get that kind of support it needs. But I think it is possible to build a world-changing product right here from Nepal.
The second side of this story of Flappy Bird, होइन, यो दोस्रो side चाहिँ, with all the new world-changing technology that we are creating, is there a stop button for something like this? Should we have a stop button for something like this? Pause, maybe?
Maybe pause button. Right? Maybe pause button. I think even some of the companies that are bringing these large language models and generative AI systems are thinking how much harm it can do. And that's why some of the access is limited, some of the features are limited, right? So, yeah, I think those who are building it, they are in the power of thinking about if I want to pause it or if I want to stop it, right? Like the Flappy Bird example.
Yeah.
The Flappy Bird founder and the founding team and the engineering team probably decided, okay, I want to pause it because I believe it's not bringing good value to the world, right? And then they paused it and they stopped it. So a lot of times I think the entrepreneurs who are building things like that, they probably have a capacity or features built into the system that allows them to either pause it or stop it if they see it can create harm. And I think the ones who are building it, they should think, especially the ones who are building AI systems, they should think beforehand, especially if they're not too sure which direction it will take, which evolution the system might take for good versus harm it can create. They should pre-program it and think about a feature to add on from early on so that they and the overall general population, if they want to pause it, they should be able to pause it or unplug it.
Interesting. Very, very interesting. Wow. Thank you so much for. I picked your brain for a few things. I hope you're okay with that.
Yeah. Thank you.
A lot of friends who are listening, they want to be a part of the Fusemachines ecosystem. What would be like the best approach?
There are different ways to get involved with Fusemachines ecosystem. They can be part of the teaching team. They can be part of the engineering team. They can be part of the product team. They can be part of the partners that will work with us to educate and partner with colleges and schools. They can be part of AI fellowship programs. There's so many ways to get involved with Fusemachines, from education to building products to providing services.
Around the world.
Around the world.
In New York, Canada, America, Asia, Europe, Middle East. Where next? Can you say that?
We have a few countries that we have shortlisted where we would expand. I'm visiting some of those countries to figure out which city in those countries and so forth. But yeah, your year will be expanding to a few more.
Very soon.
Very soon. Very soon.
Wow, that's really, really. I'm more energy to you, and
Thank you.
From our side as well. All the motivation that you need to keep on expanding and keep on doing good in the planet. I know good in our country as well, obviously. For the planet. For the planet. Let me go ahead and for the new planet. Changing. I don't know what's. Doesn't it fascinate you? When you talk to your team across the world and the things that they're creating, as well as when you see tech giants like Meta, Google, Microsoft creating all these things, doesn't it fascinate you that the possibilities are endless? And it's like the cinema?
Yeah, it does. It does. It is fascinating. It is, the possibilities are endless, and some of it has become. I've been in this field for like 20 something
Exactly.
years, right? It hasn't. There's been such a sudden change in the capacity of tech on making so many of things more real than before. 10 years अगाडि पनि हामीले नै like probably built the dialogue system chatbot. It worked to some degree, but like not as good as now, right? तर अहिले चाहिँ it's gotten good to a level where it really creates a lot of value, right? त्यो हुने बित्तिकै it gets created, the value gets created, it gets more used, and it creates more and more possibilities. अब just to give an example, अहिले Fusemachines has work from home policy for 3 days a week. 2 days आउँछ. अस्ति कोभिडमा 5 days a week work from home थियो. We changed it to 2 days a week.
Okay.
So 3 days. So now we have this issue of how do people share resources, particular desk, who's coming in, who's not coming in. How do we keep track of it? When people come in, where are they going to sit, and so forth, right? A simple way, non-AI way, was keep a track of things. People sign up. People write which desk they want to use, and so forth. We make sure somebody's looking at which desks are open, counting it. अब अस्तिको hackathon, actually the first prize went to a team that created this system, right? That takes all the security camera feeds and basically video feeds, and automatically can count the number of people, count the number of decks that are open, that the decks that are being used, and so forth. It's a new possibility because of how advanced the computer vision has become, right? There are a lot of nuances if the desk is used or not. If somebody has opened a laptop, somebody has closed the laptop, if somebody just went out, for a quick 5-minute meeting versus somebody who's left for the day, and so forth, who's left a bag in the chair. So there's all these nuances the machine has to figure out based on the computer vision tech. And this team, which won the hackathon, made this possible.
Yeah.
And it's possible now because of AI system having the kind of accuracy we need to make it usable in real life. So possibilities are endless, for sure.
I'm so coming to your office and trying to figure out what else is what other cat do you have in the bag? के के छ त्यहाँ? यहाँ चाहियो नि हामीलाई. Wow, it's been fascinating, and it's going to be a pleasure to sit with you again next time you come here, and then if I can get another, I don't know, an hour of your time.
Definitely.
And then we reflect back on 2023 and be like, we sit again in a few years, let's say, when we look back at this, the world's going to be a different place. हामीले गरेको आजको कुराहरू त्यतिखेरसम्म त्यो एकदम पुरानो कुरा भइसक्यो हुन्छ होला जस्तो लागिरहेछ मलाई.
कति कुरा probably एकदम पुरानो भन्दा पनि there would be so many new things, new automations that would become real that we probably haven't even thought about right now.
Wow. It's going to be very interesting. So thank you so much for your time, and thank you for letting me pick your brain.
Thank you so much for having me here. It was fun.
Thank you, and do come back again.
Sounds good.
Awesome. All right.
Bye.
This program is brought to you by Vyas Studios.